In all ways and all things, always praise Yod-Heh-Vah-Heh, the Aramaic pronunciation of the Tetragrammaton. And then you've got the English, YHVH. And then you've got the English name pronunciated Yahweh or Yahweh. Today I'm not going to be too much other than a teacher today. What I'm going to bring forth in this lecture is going to be a call to Yahweh. I'm going to call on Yahweh today. Bring Yahweh to remembrance as He has asked us to do. If you can get into His divine writings. This is not shock therapy. This is to lay down a line for the children of Israel to see down the street the things that are appearing, the things that are being brought to pass have to happen. These things are a matter of fact. See, a lot of people will tell you this is a holy book. This is not a holy book. See, the only thing holy, with a good understanding of the word holy, is the Holy Father. See, you hear them all the time uttering this word, holy crap, holy moly. See, with the word holy meaning perfect, the Holy Father, the perfect Father. How can a crap be holy or perfect unless it was a total evacuation? What is moly? Moly, think about it. Something under the subterranean, be holy. Our entire language has been miscued to bring about what James tells us, for a man to know to do right, but not do right is a sin. The greatest destruction of our family. We all know not to say holy crap, and a whole bunch of mess other things. But that's all by design. You watch the one-eyed monster called television, and you get your mind hearing again and again and again and 1,000 times, which turns into 1,000,000 times before too long, the things that you are not supposed to do. Think back in time when the movie theater could not be open on a Sunday because it was a day set aside for reverence. But what did the movie industry do? They went and they got the small people out there making a chatter, the ones that don't really sound right. To produce movies on Sunday, the charter came out and the law read for the movie theaters to be open on Sunday, they have to be productive, decent movies. Are they that way anymore? No. Maybe we need to impose that law and shut down the corruption coming out of the movie houses down over at the theater house away from your abode, your house where you live. And maybe that might start them to clean it up a little bit. But it wouldn't really make a lot of difference in today's time frame in this world system, because it's a whole bag of corruption. See, we live in a day of wars and rumors of wars. And that's all you hear. Oh, there's going to be a war here. There's going to be a war there. When in all actuality, it's no more than a conflict. These things are all brought about by design. This is perpetual motion. We have been told these things would happen. And over here, I'm going to start out and speak something out of Matthew 24 here. If you want a quick track there, 24:34. Everything in this despicable world system we live in today has to take place. It's part of the plan. It's the routine. The Heavenly Father set it in motion, perpetual motion. Is He going to get in there and tinker with it? He's going to keep it right on line. Matthew 24:34. Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled. Now see, that word generation there means both, as you look it up in the Greek concordance. Both a time frame and a nationality. What this verse tells me, that there's going to be one part of a race that is going to understand these things that are happening, and they're not going to worry about it, because they understand that brings the children of the man called Israel closer to being let loose from the woodshed. And from there I'm going to start out in Psalms chapter 60 shortly. These things must happen. Don't worry about it. If you call on the Holy Father for your redemption, and you ask, like Paul tells you daily, to work out your own salvation, see, at the cross you were all redeemed. You weren't saved. Every day, in obedience to the Holy Father, is an obligation. Every day, one at a time, you work out your own salvation. But King David had something to say to our Holy Father, Yodevahe. He brings forth many points that show us exactly where we're at today in this world system. And that's what we're going to talk about today. As King David's redemption prayer. Excuse me, please. I'm YHVH's name witness, Teacher Ray Bunzow. Drop me a letter at P.O. Box 143 in Roscommon, Michigan, 48653. That's in the United States of America. This is the Feast of Tabernacles. This is the time frame that the Heavenly Father came forth fulfilling, the prophecy 100% that the Holy Father would come through a virgin and tabernacle with his family. Not with the other nationalities. He stepped forth into the physical dimension to be with his family. The time of the tabernacles is when the Holy Father made his appearance. In the year 4 BC, on the first day of tabernacles, Emmanuel was birthed. On the 8th day was circumcised. So you've got an 8-day feast to complete the cycle. You can visit me on the YouTube site at Labyrinth to Israel. I've got some 100+ lectures on there, many different topics. And today, in the old Hebrew world, as it is in the Israelite world today, actually, it's Tishri the 6th, 7,519 years since Yahweh promised Adam to redeem the original sin. Because Adam was brought to this earth and fell into sin some 7,519 years ago. Now, seeing how this is October, this in the old Hebrew calendar is when the time frame when the civil government's calendar started. The civil government, just like in the United States. This is the time frame when the financial time frame for the government expires from last year going into the new year. Just like in March is the time frame for the religious, what you would refer to as the religious New Year at Passover. So Next, please. I'm going to try an experiment. Please forgive me for trying this experiment on you. I've tried this once before and it didn't work out too bad. But today we're going to start out in the Holy Scriptures contained in the Old and New Testament. Oh, please. From the Geneva 1560 edition. Next, please. This is what Psalm 60 says. Psalms 60 in the Geneva. O Yahweh, Thou hast cast us out. Thou hast scattered us. Thou hast been angry. Turn again unto us. Thou hast made the land to tremble, and hast made it to gape. Heal the breaches thereof, for it is shaken. Thou hast showed thy people heavy things. Thou hast made us drink the wine of giddiness. This is what I'm bringing us here for, is this word giddiness in verse 3. Up, please. Partially. Be now thou hast given a banner to they that fear thee, that it may be displayed because of thy truth. Think about this, Selah, reflect. That thy beloved may be declared. Help with thy right hand and hear me. Yahweh hath spoken in his holiness, therefore I will rejoice. I shall divide Shechem. Next, please. And next, please. We're going to pick up in verse 10 here. Well, now, thou, O Yahweh, which had called us
and did not go forth.
And did not go forth. Thank you. Yahweh with our armies, give us help against trouble. For vain is the help of man. Through Yahweh we shall do valiantly, for he shall tread down our enemies. Next, please. Now this is the same thing. This is going to be the Bishop's Bible out of 1595. Hold on. Right up here, if they had filled this in right here, then you'd have the Hebrew Tetragrammaton, Yod-Heh-Vah-Heh. But this is out of the 1595 Bishop's Bible. Next, please. This is what the page looks like that we're going to read from. Next, please. O Yahweh, thou hast cast us out and scattered us abroad. Thou hast also been displeased. O turn thee unto us again. Thou hast moved the land and divided it. Heal thereof, for it shaketh. Thou hast showed thy people heavy things. Thou hast given us drink of deadly wine. Next, please. See how through the different versions of the editings it brings forth new concepts and ideas, a better understanding. Go back to the Geneva, one of the verse places there. Next one, please. Next one. I wanted to bring this to to your attention. Forgive me for going back to this. But on the side, raise that right up so we can see. Look at the notes. Look at the notes. For every verse, there's plenty to be brought forth for your understanding. Thank you. That explains and brings the details more to your attention so you understand where to follow up this thinking from, is why that book was put away. Because with the health, with the education, with the government, with the social directives that came from this book, it was explaining how all the authorities had corrupted themselves back in the 14th, 15th, 1600s to the point where they were just totally Jewing the people from everything they could. My, it sounds like today. But here we are in the 60th chapter of Psalms. And we're going to get a verse here, and then we're going to go to the 44th chapter of Psalms, and then we're going to go to 1 Chronicles for another thought. Deliver me from mine enemies, O Yahweh. Defend me from them that rise up against me. Now you go back over here to Psalms 44, verse 9, and it explains this. See, the book must explain itself. Don't worry about a theologian telling you what it says. Look for the book to tell you what it says. The book will explain itself when you endeavor and you get in and you trace these things out, line upon line, precept upon precept. Psalms 44:9. But thou hast cast off, and put us to shame, and goes not forth with our armies. Thou makest us to turn back from the enemy, and they which hate us spoil for themselves. Thou hast given us like sheep appointed for meat, and hast scattered us among the heathen. Thou sellest thy people for nothing, and does not increase thy wealth by their price. Deliver me, O Yahweh, from my enemies. Verse 2, Psalms chapter 60. Thou hast made the earth to tremble, thou hast broken it. Heal the breaches thereof, for it is shaken. Chronicles, 1 Chronicles chapter 7. Chronicles chapter 7, verse 14. If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves, and pray and seek my face, and turn from their wicked ways, I will hear from the divine dimension, and will forgive their sin, and heal their land. Now my eyes shall be open, and my ears attent unto the prayer that is made in my name. Oh, I know it says in this place. But think about the full context. The Holy Father wants you to address Him like you would your brother, or your natural father, or anybody else that has a proper noun for a name. Don't just call him by some idiotic pronoun. The Holy One is treated worse. Well, I'm not going there. You understand what I'm saying, I believe. Psalm 60, verse 3. Thou hast showed thy people hard things. Thou hast made us drink the wine of astonishment. No. What was it that the Bishop's Bible said? deadly wine. Jeremiah chapter 25 will give us a little insight on that. Because see, whether it's in the front of the book or in the back of the book, this history never changes. Until you get somebody come along and get a copyright, change a few words here, or you hire an editor that gets involved in the changing of the documents, or they just take the organic documents away and then they'll give it to you in Greek. Jeremiah 25 verse 15. For thus saith Yahweh, King of Israel, unto me, take the wine cup of this fury at my hand, and cause all the nations to whom I send thee to drink it. And they shall drink and be moved and be mad because of the sword that I will send among them. Then took I the cup of Yahweh's hand, and made all the nations to drink unto whom Yahweh had sent me. Now who do you think the nations are there? Who do you think the nations are there? I'm going to leave time at the end to explain that to the Goyim that I addressed today. Oh, you don't like that term, huh? Well, Paul was sent to the Goyim, wasn't he? The Gentiles? Psalm 60, verse 4. Thou hast given a banner to them that fear thee. It may be displayed because of the truth. Might be displayed because of the understanding. Selah. Take a breath and think about this banner. What is the banner? What did Moses give to build the tabernacle as a banner? Didn't he give them skins of red and linen of white and linen of blue to make the tabernacle? The red, the white, and the blue? This is the banner of the nations of the man called Israel that settled into Western Europe, became the white Western Caucasians, the children of the man called Israel. Their name was taken off. Israel was dropped. They picked up Caucasians. What is the banner in the sky? And when you get up in the morning and the Heavenly Father shows you at the break of dawn the colors of the children of light, red, white, and blue on the horizon. Interesting. The banner. It's a signal. It's a standard. Verse 5, Psalms chapter 60. That thy beloved be delivered. Save with thy right hand, and hear me. Yahweh hath spoken in his perfectness. The book says holiness. In his perfectness. I will rejoice. I will divide Shechem and mete out the valley of Succoth. Excuse me. Shechem. Here we've got Shechem. Each and every time it's 7927. Right on down here, we're in Psalm 60 verse 6, 7927 next please. I found this interesting. Shechem. The same as 7926 from 7925. The shoulder of burden. The neck. Between the shoulders. 7927. the same as a ridge. And then you get down here the name of other nationalities, the shoulder blade. So here when we're talking about, next please. Shechem, he's talking about, as we get over here a few more verses, the weight that's put on our people that's not really deserving of our people. And then Sukkoth, right down here in Psalms, is 5523. 5523 from 521, from 520, from 519, all right, 520. That's a lair. That's a den, a pavilion, or a tabernacle. 21, it's a booth, a cottage, a covert, pavilion, a tabernacle, a tent. That's a place of dwelling. I'll put just a little more. And then to finish it out here, 5524, a booth, or the daughters' brothels, an idolatrous tent of impure purposes. So you have to be careful once you get past a place to stay, and you get down into the other, you might have problems. Next please. Verse 7. Gilead is mine, Manasseh is mine, Ephraim also is the strength of my head, Judah is my lawgiver, Moab is my washpot, over Edom will I cast out my shoe. Philistia, triumph thou because of me. I know it's a terrible thing when you get a shoe thrown at you as some type of an insult in the world over there in the Middle East. Verse 10, Psalms chapter 60. Wilt not thou, O Yahweh, which hast cast us off? And now, O Yahweh, which did not go out with our armies? Give us help from trouble, for vain is the hand of man, or the intervention. At this late date in the game, the darkness has grown to such a level, without total annihilation of just about everything, as we were told about by Thomas Jefferson and our government, we're in trouble. We're at a point where the spider has so many spider webs over the white Western European people that we are no longer the head. We are the tail, just as the book says, the time would arrive when we're no longer the head. But see, you have to remember, at some point in time, you have to put forth an effort and show you have just a little bit more brain power than a ribeye steak. You can't just wait to get barbecued every day. You have to be smarter than the steak and as harmless as a dove. Through Yahweh shall we do valiantly, for He is it that shall tread down our enemies. So without Yahweh, we can make these attempts on things. If we get ahead of His plan, we're in trouble. If we lag behind on His time frame, we're in trouble. We are the Holy Father's hands in this dimension. I'm going to Psalms chapter 80 next. The children of light have become complacent. All of creation mourns. Remember back a few years ago when you'd go up North Camping, you'd wake up to the birds chirping. You don't hear the birds chirping in the morning like we used to. They don't exist like they used to.
That's right.
You used to see swarms of butterflies. What's the yellow one that was so prominent on the windshield all summer long? That yellow butterfly, you know, the one that made the big mess? They're not out there. You know, this year I only had to really clean the windshield 2 or 3 times all summer because them insects aren't out on the road. I didn't stop driving less. I still had places to go. But the insects weren't out there. Where have they gone? Now think. On our way to this meeting today, we passed this grain field that the farmer just harvested. And we saw different kinds of birds out there. And you know what? They must live under the old covenant because they were all segregated in the different areas where they were gleaning the fields. The blackbirds were in one area. The geese were in a different area. The egrets were in another area. The sparrows were in another area. They didn't intermingle. I wonder if there's a pattern there that is from the past that should be maintained today. How do we maintain the past with integrity? Has the past fallen so far off the cliff you don't remember what the past was? Or has your mind been rebooted to only remember what comes off the one-eyed monster television? Psalms chapter 80 as we continue on with King David's redemption prayer. Give ear, O shepherd of Israel, thou that leadest Joseph like a flock, thou that dwellest between the cherubim, shine forth before Ephraim and Benjamin and Manasseh. Stir up thy strength and come and save us. Deliver and save us. Turn us again, O Yodeh-Vahe. Cause thy face to shine, that we shall be saved. O Yahweh, King of hosts, how long wilt thou be angry against the prayer of thy people? Thou feedest them with the bread of sorrows, and givest them tears to drink in great measure. Thou makest us a strife, a discord, a contention unto our own family, and our enemies laugh among themselves. Just think over in the Congress today, the House of Representatives, they're politicians. In the years gone by, they were statesmen, where they'd serve 1 or 2 or 3 terms. To be in the executive or the congressional part of the government representation is not to be a career. Most of those that are in Congress, if they speak more than one language today, the second language is Yiddish. But in the days gone by, back in the mid-1800s and earlier, our statesmen spoke Greek, Latin, English, American English, French, and Spanish on their own level. They had not a clue what Yiddish was about, but they knew who the Jews were. And many attempts were made to put into the Constitution to keep the Jews from being ever allowed into this great land. For if they would, in less than 200 years, they would decimate the once great United States. And here it stands today, as the children of light are the tail. And they laugh. And they laugh. And they lie to you on the news. And the politicians lie to you about this. And the guy standing right next to him swearing to it. Psalms 80, verse 7. Turn us again, O Yahweh of hosts, and cause thy face to shine, and we shall be saved. Thou hast brought a vine out of Egypt. Thou hast cast out the heathen, and planted the vine. Thou preparest room before the vine, and didst cause it to take deep root, and it filled the land. The hills were covered with the shadow of this vine, and the boughs thereof were like the goodly cedars. Now stop and think. The children of the man called Israel were brought out of Egypt, and they filled the lands. They became the 11 nations in Europe, and Manasseh the United States, 12th. How many nations have the Jews who claim that they are in the promised land have been nations? Now they've been kicked out of many nations, excluded from many nations, and denied to return to many nations until they got to a point in time where the Jews became bankers and lenders of debt to the governments of white Western Europe, to the point where they had enough influence through their debt-imposed currency systems on the governments where they could purchase citizenship. But the Jews, the only land the Jews have ever owned or been a part of is Edomia. And the hills were covered with the shadow of this vine, and the boughs were like the goodly cedars. The cedars are like the redwood sequoias mentioned or known about in California. She, the bride of Yod-Heh-Vah-Heh, the vine, sent out her boughs unto the sea, and her branches into the river. Unto the sea, unto all of the people, and the rivers, and to the different organizations that helped provide direction for better living conditions within the sea of the people that lived in that area. Why hast thou then broken down her hedges, so that all they that pass by the way do pluck her? The boar out of the wood doth waste it. The boar. Now remember, the Holy Father says, of all the animals on the earth, when the swine dies, don't touch it. The swine, the pig, the boar. It's all the same category, right down to the bear, the brown bear, the black bear, the grizzly bear, the polar bear. They're all pigs of the field. Now see, the boar out of the wood. Do you think they forgot to put woodwork here? Doth waste. Now who is it that has introduced the debt interest monetary system to the world? Why, it's the Jews. And don't they waste our time and steal our economy with the debt system, with the debt monetary system? and the wild beast of the field does devour it. Oh my! Who are the ones that get the most free for the least amount of work? You think back in time, when the darkies used to live on the outside of town, there was a man in every household that helped to raise and keep the children under control. But once you started getting into these social programs that gave the wife more money when the husband's been booted out, not part of the household anymore, well, the dark woman would have more children, get more social benefits, and the husband could be off playing, come around every once in a while, and still have his treats, or, well, how would you say it, have his cake, and eat it too. Verse 14, Psalms chapter 80. Return, we beseech thee, O Yahweh of hosts, O King of hosts. Excuse me, look down from heaven, behold, and visit this vine, and the vineyard which thy right hand hath planted, and the branch that thou hast made strong for thyself. It is burned with fire. It is cut down. They perished at the rebuke of thy countenance. The countenance is always the color of the face. And the children of Israel are the ruddy nationality, the Caucasians, those that blush ruddy in the face. Verse 17. Let thy hand be upon the man of thy right hand, upon the Son of Man, who thou madest strong for thyself. Now this is an interesting passage here. Who is the Son of Man that was made for thyself? Who did the Heavenly Father make the Son of Man for? Now you can look at that as the children of the man called Israel, because he knew them all before they were in the womb. And he brought them into this world to perform a function, to keep evil under control, which they no longer do. But if we take this verse here, and we trace this verse back here to Hebrews chapter 10, Hebrews chapter 10, for the Son of Man, which thou hast made for thyself, Yahweh. Now, back here in Hebrews chapter 10, we'll pick it up in verse 3 and verse 6 and verse 7. But in those sacrifices there is a remembrance again made of sins every year. Verse 6. In burnt offerings and sacrifices for sin thou hast had no pleasure. Then said I, the Holy Father says, Lo, I am in the volume of this book. It is written of me. Stop and think now. If this book was written of Emmanuel, was Jesus in Genesis chapter 1 verse 1? No. Yod-Heh-Vah-Heh, YHVH created heaven and earth. The word Jesus, as it states in the Catholic dictionary, is just a word that provides you a secondary description. But the Son is less great than the Father in any family. So, if the Heavenly Father's prophecy is that He steps into the flesh container, here in Hebrews 10:7, I am in the volume of this book. Just as it says over here in Psalms 80, verse 17, where it says, upon the Son of Man, whom thou madest strong for thyself, which is the prophecy of the Holy Father stepping into the flesh. Verse 18, so will not we go back from thee? Quicken us, and we will call upon thy name. Turn us again, O King Yahweh of hosts. Cause thy face to shine, and we shall be saved. 81. Sing aloud unto Yahweh. Sing aloud unto Yahweh, our strength. Make a joyful noise unto the King of Jacob. Take a song, a holy song, a perfect song, and bring hither the timbrel, the pleasant harp, the psaltery. Blow up the trumpet in the new moon, in the time of the appointed, on our solemn feast for the day. For this was the statute for Israel, and this is a law that Yahweh of Jacob ordained in Joseph for a testimony when he went out through the land of Egypt. But see, as you celebrate the Feast of Passover, as you celebrate the Feast of Tabernacles, which used to be first fruit, as you celebrate the Feast of Tabernacles, the Holy Father wants to hear His name proclaimed in the horn. Blow the trumpet. What does it tell you in Revelation? At the trumpet sound, things will happen. At the next trumpet sound, more things will happen. They must happen. We must rejoice in these happenings, because the more they happen, the worse things get. The greater joy we have, because we know our Father will be here to redeem us, because there's nothing we can do to stop what's in motion. We cannot intervene. We can't go play part of their political, religious, even educational system to put a stop to it. The Holy Father says it will get very bad to the point where you don't have anything but the very poor and the very elite. It's not bad yet. People are still getting around. They're still having their vacations and their leisure time and all the television channels they want for further indoctrination. Psalms 81:7. Where's my time? Thank you. Psalms 81:7. Thou callest in trouble. I delivered thee. I answered thee in the secret place of thunder. I proved thee at the waters of Meribah. Selah. What is the thunder? How are you going to hear in the secret place of thunder as these things happen? Is there going to be so much gunfire in the street? Is there going to be bombs going off in the street? Is there going to be more false flags played upon the people? There's many things that we have to rejoice about. Fret not. Put your cares on the Holy Father. He's got things under control. Gasoline prices go up. What do we have to grumble about? It's part of the plan. Verse 8, Psalms 81. Hear, O my people, I will testify unto thee. O Israel, if thou wilt hearken unto me, there shall no strange deity, no strange religion be in thee, neither shall thou worship any strange gods. I am King, thy father, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt. Open thy mouth wide, I will fill it, says Yahweh. But my people would not hearken unto my voice. Did Israel would do none of me. Deuteronomy 32. Deuteronomy 32. My people would not listen to me. Israel would none of me. Deuteronomy 32:15. But Jeshurun is for the upright of Israel. But Jeshurun waxed fat. Got a little bit too much money in his pocket. Too many herds in the field. And kicked, thou art waxen fat, thou art grown thick. Too many furs waiting to be sold. Too many grapes waiting to be crushed. Thou art covered with fatness. Then he forsook Yahweh, which made him, and lightly esteemed the rock of his salvation. He lightly esteemed, he took it for granted. I'm special. I don't have to do anything but show up for dinner. Verse 16. They provoked Yahweh to jealousy with their strange gods, with abominations, with their strange religions and abominations, provoked the Holy One to anger. They sacrificed unto devils, and not unto Yahweh, to gods whom they knew not, to new gods that came up newly upon your fathers, and they sacrificed unto devils. It was once said, if you worship your enemy, you're defeated. If you adopt your enemy's religion, you're enslaved. If you breed with your enemy, you're destroyed.
That's right.
And our Holy Father says, stay separate. Don't have these other religions. Covenant identity is not a religion. It has nothing to do with the Catholic Christianity. When you're talking about Christianity, you're holding the Catholic Church right around the shoulder. And see, the only thing difference between the Pope and your boss is, the only thing the Pope wants you to kiss is the ring.
Not me.
But the boss out there, the Jew boss out there, has other ideas for those. Psalms 81:12. So I gave them up unto their own heart's desires, their lusts, and their fornications, and they walked in their own counsel. Oh, that my people had listened unto me, and Israel had walked in my ways and my statutes and my judgments. I should soon have subdued their enemies and turned my hand against their adversaries. The haters of Yahweh should have submitted themselves unto him, but their time should have endured forever. He should have fed them also with the finest of wheat, and with the honey out of the rock should I have satisfied them. Psalms chapter 82. Yahweh standeth in the congregation of the mighty. The mighty! The children of light are the mighty that have become the tail. Then they put their head under their arm and hid their face, that he judge amongst the gods. Now here's telling you that the Holy Father stands in the congregation. We're going to go over here to Leviticus chapter 26, and we're going to think about what he says over here. Leviticus 26. Verse 5. Leviticus 26, verse 5. and your threshing shall reach unto the vintage, and the vintage shall reach unto the sowing time, and ye shall eat your bread to the full, and dwell in your land safely, if you follow Yahweh. Verse 8, and 5 of you shall chase 100, and 100 of you shall chase 10,000 to flight, and your enemies shall fall before you by the sword, if you follow Yahweh's laws, statutes, and judgments. Here's what we step back into history for. And I will set up my tabernacle among you, Israel, and my soul shall not abhor you. The Holy Father says his mind and his will and his emotions will not abhor you, his soul. See, in other places they talk about his spirit, his wisdom, his conscience, and his communion, which is the part that came into the flesh when he tabernacled with his people. But here, Leviticus 26:10, and ye shall eat old stores and bring forth the old because of the new. And I will set up my tabernacle among you, and my soul shall not abhor you. And I will walk among you, and I will be your God, and you shall be my people. I am Yahweh your king, and brought you forth from the land of Egypt. Now, how many of these Judeo-Christian synagogues out here teach you that the Holy Father has a soul that sits on the throne as his spirit came to the flesh? Psalms chapter 82, verse 1. Yahweh stands with us within this congregation with his soul. We follow his ways and his judgments. He will not abhor our prayers. Verse 2. How long will ye judge unjustly and accept the persons of the wicked? Accept the aliens. He's asking us, how long will we accept the aliens? Jump right over to verse 8, Psalms 82. Arise, O Yahweh, judge ye the earth, for thou shalt inherit all the nations. Now think. Just think. This is in perpetual motion. On and on and on. This is where Yahweh gets involved with the new covenant. Here we are is the word nation. And here's some time ago, out of Psalms 33:12, 1471. And out of Psalms 83:4, and Psalms 105, and Deuteronomy 28, and Exodus 19, and Genesis 21:13, and on and on. Next, please. 1471 is the number. Now, right here, Psalms 82:8. Now, isn't this something that's the very same number, and it's the plural? Is there something at the top here? All right, right here, we've got nations right here in Ezra 5:24. And then in Nehemiah, look at the disparity in the numbers. Up, please. Now the explanation for 1741 is Goy. Oh, the Holy Father is going to inherit the Goy nations. All right, Goy. From the root of 1465. Now see the sense of massing. A foreign nation. This is a foreign nation. Those nations that left the land of Israel and settled Western Europe. As this shows up here, right here, we've got Gentiles with a capital G. All the nation of the children of Israel are called the Gentiles, right here as it tells us in Psalms. Psalms. Even the first mention up in Genesis, the Gentiles are the Goy. Now, the children of the man called Israel, every time the Jew calls you the Goy, should be elated, because now you understand that the Goy are the nations that Paul was sent to. The Gentile nations. Now, stay with me here, because as the children of the man called Israel left Assyrian bondage, crossed into the Caucasian mountains, they became the heathen. They forgot who they were. They were the heathen nations and peoples. But they're still the Gentiles, as Emmanuel tells you in the 15th chapter in Emmanuel, next please, that he was sent only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. The only way to redeem our people and redeem our land is to start setting up the values that the Holy Father set down for judgments. How do we protect our heritage? That's what's been in our past. That's our history. How do we protect our heritage? Or do we allow the change to continue? Look what they're doing in Europe about the Muslim invasion. You won't hear that on the news, but in Sweden, in Germany, in other nations, the fight's starting to go to the street. And it's not just placards and banners and big signs they're carrying around. They're taking the fights to the street. And you're not going to hear that on the news, because once the word gets out that the Germans are standing up to the Muslims, then the rest of the white Western nations might get an idea, oh, what's good for Germany is good for the rest of the world.
That's right.
So, King David's redemption prayer. I'm Yahweh's name witness, Teacher Ray Bunzow. Send me a comment at P.O. Box 143, Roscommon, Michigan. Today is October the 8th, 2016. May Yahweh just bring His children into the light and out of the darkness, so they can understand His laws, His statutes, and His judgments, as He so desires to have happened long ago. So be it.
So be it. Praise God.